Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ashley Calderon, and I'm excited about today's webinar. We have Chrissy Krieger from Student Life here today to talk to us about how to get involved on campus, and believe it or not, she has 101 things she's going to share with us today. Please take the time to type in questions in the chat box. There are some web links toward the bottom. And Chrissy has agreed to send out the PowerPoint if you'd like a copy of that. And then at the end, we'll kind of talk to you a little bit about some of our other webinars that are coming up throughout this year. So I'll turn it over to Chrissy for the webinar.
Thanks, Ashley, and welcome. I see we have Debbie and Rachel, so thank you so much for joining us today. By all means, should you have any questions at any time, please feel free to go ahead and type them over on the left-hand side. Regardless of what the question is, hopefully I can provide an answer for you today, and certainly if not, my contact info is present for you to be able to ask a question that way or to get some more information to you as well. So as Ashley said, we're going to talk today about what it looks like for you in college and how to get involved and 101 things to do, and hopefully we're going to get you involved before the end of the day today. So that's the goal. So I see we have both of you are graduate students. So I'm going to do my best to kind of tailor this into some things that we offer here on campus for you as graduate students that may be a little bit different for those who are undergrad, and just kind of talk about involvement in both a very formal and informal way. And like I said, if you have any questions, just please feel free to ask. I'm going to go ahead and close this one for us. And it looks like maybe we have probably one of you working on campus and the other not. So that is helpful to know as well. Obviously, time is of the essence to everybody, be it grad student, undergrad student, us as professionals. So we're going to talk about some ways to maintain that job, whatever you have, maintain your study, and also to get involved on campus. Okay, so for those of you, obviously the both of you that are graduate students, at least so it says you are, so we're going to go with that. And if you're not, please go ahead and make that over in the chat so I'm aware of that. But for you, your college experience, your undergrad that is, may have looked a certain way that led you here. So I'm going to tailor this question a little bit, and I'm going to ask you, instead of your freshman year of high school, let's talk a little bit about what your freshman year of college looked like, and then your senior year of college. So if you'd go type, how did you change in those 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long you took to complete your undergraduate degree? And what do you think changed you? So again, how did you change from freshman to senior year of college? And then what during your tenure as an undergraduate changed that? If you type that over there so we can kind of talk through that, that'd be great. So one of the things while you guys are typing those answers, obviously there's a lot in a person's undergraduate career and graduate that it's going to be able to change you from time to time, regardless of that's if you're involved. Maybe you failed a class, maybe you got all A's in classes, whatever that is, that's going to change you. Okay, so it looks like, Debbie, you're saying you're an undergrad, so perfect. If I could have you then say, from your freshman year of high school to your senior year of high school, what would you say changed you? And then we're taking Rachel's comments here. She's getting involved a lot on groups on campus, started to get comfortable speaking in front of people. And that's great, Rachel. That's a wonderful suggestion. And Debbie, life. Perfect. You're a returning adult. So life, obviously, life experiences change you. I think we all go through them from time to time, be that college, be it in high school. So that's important to know. So Debbie, thank you so much for saying that you're a returning adult. I can kind of work to tailor some of that to both of you as well. One of you is a graduate and the other is a returning adult, as we talk about getting involved in ways that are going to help both of you once you finish your degree at IPFW. Okay, so basically, as you look into unpacking this box or packing this box that you want to become, regardless of when you started here, what time in your life, be it age, be it portion of your life, season of your life, or if you're undergraduate or a graduate, you kind of start IPFW or any institution as this empty box waiting to be filled, regardless of what we're filling it with your major or with life experiences or with getting involved. Yes, with this info, or the presentation is recorded, so we can make sure that we get that information to you, Debbie, that hopefully you can send that out. And as Ashley spoke, there is going to be the PowerPoint available that you're welcome to send out as well. So as you kind of go along with your time at a university, you want to hopefully end up with this really pretty box. The bow's nicely tied, everything's together, and inside of that is going to be who you are and who you're going to sell to a future employer. Because obviously we all went to college or are in college to hopefully get that degree to get us where we want to be career-wise in our life. So we're going to talk about today kind of how to put this box together, tie a bow around it, and really make it something that's going to stand out and help you as a person as you move along. So how do you get there? And the highlighted you is intentional because it is indeed about you. I can say, oh, I did this as an undergrad or I did this in grad school. That's me. That's what I like to do. That's who built me. Ashley's going to be different. Debbie's, you're going to be different. Rachel, you're going to be different. It really is going to depend upon what you want and then your end result. So what color bow do you want to tie and what's going to be in that box as you come out of your college experience. So as Ashley said, we're going to talk today about getting involved at IPFW and then 101 things to do before you graduate. I'm going to share some thoughts from your peers, some thoughts on some different things to do, and kind of share the understanding that involvement is a very formal or can be a completely informal thing. And either way, it's going to give you something, enhance your life, enhance a portion of you. So when you move forward past IPFW, you're more than a piece of paper and a degree that's going to hang on your wall. So what's in my box? I felt it was kind of important to share a little bit about myself so you can ask any questions related to those and to kind of give you an idea of kind of who I am and what brings me. I was born and raised in Arizona. Everybody always says, why are you in Fort Wayne, Indiana? And we'll get to that in a second. But my bachelor's degree is in journalism from Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. And then I have a master's in student development administration from Seattle University. It's really just a very fancy title for higher education. And those of us that work outside of the actual classroom in a university setting. The other parts of me, I'm an athlete, played competitive sports for 16 years, traveled mostly around the United States playing soccer. I was actually a part of the Olympic development team in my teenage years, so unfortunately those years have gone by, but that does certainly impact who I am today and enhance my life. I am an only child as well. Love animals, love the water, and I've been privileged enough to be a published author, and writing and publishing is something I greatly enjoy. And for both of you, my contact information is there on the right-hand side. I will present that at the end as well, but please feel free. We're in Walb Union Student Life, Walb Union 210. If you ever just want to stop by or have any questions that we cannot answer for you today, either email or please come by the office anytime. Okay, so let's kind of take a step back. And you've graduated. So you have this degree in hand. For Rachel, that's a graduate degree. Debbie, for you, that's an undergraduate degree. What does that look like for you? So obviously, hopefully you came to IPFW with the intention to graduate. I don't think anyone would spend the money right now to not graduate. So we're going to kind of fast forward whatever that is for you, be it a semester, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, to the point that you have graduated. So I'm going to ask you to kind of have that thought or that picture in mind as we move forward. So since we do have two females in the room with us, that's a good thing, kind of will help us with this example. Let's assume both of you have the same major. We're going to assume you're psychology majors. You both graduated with a 3.5 GPA. You're both applying to the exact same job. Who's going to get hired? You're the same thing. Potentially you even look alike. You graduated from the exact same institution. You took the exact same coursework. What are you going to do to set yourself apart to be the one in this picture who gets hired? That's going to be the question, and hopefully the mode as we move forward on talking about getting involved and doing something within your academic time here to enhance and to hopefully make you the one who's going to get hired, other than the person sitting next to you who has that exact same degree. So when you're done here, as that picture shows, you're a box, okay? We all wear boxes. Every single box you put yourself in, your resume is a box. When you go to apply for a job someplace, you are a piece of paper. It's what's in that box, it's how that box looks that's going to get you that job or get you where you want to be. So that's my challenge for you as we move forward with the presentation on what kind of box you want to make. Are you the polka dot box? Are you this box down here that's pretty plain, just with kind of a fun, original bow? Whatever that is, whatever you construct in there is going to be a symbol or a sign or a package of what you did with your degree, with your experiences, and with your involvement outside of your degree when you were at IPFW. So the key here is setting yourself apart. And one of the ways, and potentially one of the best ways to do that, be it undergrad or grad, is to get involved. And that's why Ashley asked us in Student Life, and that's really why Student Affairs at a university kind of exists, is to get you involved, get you connected to your institution. And we're going to talk about some ways that you can do that here at IPFW. So what do you want to fill your box with? Debbie, if I could ask you to respond, and Rachel, you as well, when you think about graduating, what do you want to represent when you go to apply for a job? So if you had to answer the question, Rachel, what do you represent? Debbie, what do you represent? How would you answer that to potentially a future employer or someone who's going to be a mentor of yours or something like that? What do you want to represent as the best possible version of you when you go to apply for jobs? If you guys could answer that there in that chat box, we can move forward with kind of tailoring that to both of you in what kind of things that you want to represent and be involved in. And Rachel, I know you talked about being involved on campus. So for you at your graduate degree, what does that mean for you? And Debbie, you also noted that you were a returning adult. So obviously that's something that's going to represent you in your time in college. So that's important as well. But what, other than that, other than being a returning adult student who took the step to come back to campus, what's something else you want to represent when you graduate? So Rachel, that's great. New ideas, integrity, connections, being open, and those are some excellent points, and really the reasons that we ask a lot of students or suggest to students to continue to get involved, because you can explore new ideas, you can build connections, continue to build upon you as a person with a lot of integrity as you move through different facets and different seasons of being involved and of being on campus and in a graduate or an undergraduate program. Okay, so what does getting involved do for you? It distinguishes you from your peers, which we kind of talked about in talking about graduating and really being the person who sets yourself apart and who is going to get that job. Here at IPFW, it connects you to campus, which is huge. We all know you can go to class and you sit in class for X amount of hours a week. A lot of people sit in class and go home. What getting involved does is really make it an experience. And that's what you're paying for college. It's so much more than just a degree. It's going to give you something that you can reference when you go apply for jobs or when you take an undergraduate program to a graduate program. It is truly an experience. It builds your resume. It continues to fill that box that we talked about with a variety of different things that you would not be able to get if you weren't on the university campus and taking the time to do them. And again, most of them being free. You don't have to pay for a lot of it. As Rachel said, it introduced you to new people, new ideas, new places, new things, which is incredibly important, especially if maybe you grew up in Fort Wayne and are looking to apply for a job elsewhere or move to a different region in the country. Being able to reference that at least you took the time to introduce yourself to new things and new ideas and new people will be very beneficial. It certainly creates a more well-rounded individual. When you leave here, you aren't just that psychology degree or whatever degree you are seeking right now. It makes you someone who can tie that box or tie that bow on that box and really put this nice package together. It gives you something to show for your education, professional network, references. I know I can speak for myself and that I probably write a reference for a student at least 2 to 3 times a week, and that's something that I cherish very much, is being able to be around the students and working that closely, because I know that people did that for me as an undergraduate and graduate student. And it will make you more successful academically and socially. A lot of our research within student affairs and higher education in general shows that students who are involved retain at higher rates. They're more successful when they go along through their process in academia, and they're just happier and more connected to their campus overall. So ways to get involved at IPFW. A lot of these are similar to other universities. Obviously, most universities, or certainly universities of our size, will give you a lot of different ways. By no means is this a comprehensive list, but it will touch on some areas that you can continue to get involved with if you're not already. And then within each of them, the best part is they can spur other opportunities for you as well. So we're going to talk about a little bit about on-campus jobs, being involved with clubs and organizations, student government, intramural sports if you are interested in any athletics like that, leadership development and positions on campus, being involved in your community engagement and servant leadership, and then attending events and other numerous campus programs. And again, kind of that understanding that involvement can be very formal or informal. Okay, so on-campus jobs. Obviously, I think one of you said you worked here on campus, the other did not. But one of the best benefits of being employed on campus as opposed to being off campus, and Debbie says your staff, so thank you. That will be helpful as well. Your supervisors know you're a student first. If you're working at McDonald's or Wendy's down the street, yeah, they may know that you are a student or that you're trying to get your education at a higher education institution, but they may not realize you're a student first and that homework comes first. And in doing so, that gives you the opportunity to network with hundreds of staff, administrators, peers, etc. on campus in a kind of a closed setting of those individuals that you would not get externally from campus. Flexible schedule, real-world experience, and if you live on campus here or commute closely, you hopefully can schedule your work hours near your class schedule so you're saving on gas and travel time. And we're going to bring up real quick, if you can go down here to the web links at the bottom, job search information. I know Debbie said your staff, so this doesn't 100% apply to you, but certainly this is something you can direct your students to. And then as well, Rachel, as a graduate student, or if you're working with students, you can direct your students there as well. The Career Services site will give you that information about Job Zone that you can direct your students to look for jobs on campus. They have other tabs here about full-time positions and some great ideas on how to connect with employers and to build your resume, part-time positions as well, and ways in which you can look for those and get their listings in many places, and then you can see the other tabs there. But certainly something that we do through orientation over the summer, as well as just on a daily basis, is direct students to Job Zone, because where else can you find this comprehensive list of things that are posted? And we know the flyers on campus can get kind of overwhelming sometimes. So this area is perfect for that, to direct your students to job searching IPFW. And obviously, if they have any questions, they can always go to Career Services in KT 109 for that as well. So moving on to clubs and organizations. Again, this may take a little bit more of the formal side of involvement, because this is going to give the student an opportunity to be involved in something that maybe meets from time to time or has a set schedule of things. Either way, this is more of a requirement once you're involved in something, as opposed to just attending a program. So again, if you can navigate down to the links at the bottom left for club and organization information. And what that's going to do is take you to the student life portion of the website that obviously our entire office is geared towards getting students involved. But if you go to the student organization tab on the left-hand side of that website, it will bring up all of our types of organizations. And as you can see, we have over 125 active orgs in various aspects or various types, from departmental, club, sport, special interest, etc. That way students can have an easier time navigating through that they know they want to, maybe they like judo and they want to do judo, that's going to be in the special interest section. Or, religion or practicing or talking to individuals from religious backgrounds is important to them. They can find those types in the religious organizations aspect. We do have Social Greek coming back to campus, so that is a portion right now. We have a couple that have begun to express interest and one that has started formally. So if you would click on that Social Greek tab, you can see that information as well. If there's, again, nothing that sparks your interest as a staff member or a graduate student, we certainly encourage your students to start their own. You don't need, it's really not that long of a process if you really know what you want to do and to get started. It truly is and provides an opportunity for you to kind of seek out what part and how much you want to be involved. So by all means, if you would direct your students to those links. There's also a link there at the bottom of that page that talks about starting a new organization and what that looks like and how to do so with the Student Life Office. So moving on to student government, this is a great thing and a huge resume builder for students that are interested. Student government's kind of mission is to advocate for the student body, ways to get involved, become an officer, be a senator, join SAB. All of those things are going to give students the opportunity to really work hands-on and influence their campus life, campus look, and network. That's a huge networking opportunity with your vice chancellors, your chancellors, faculty, staff on campus, and it's fun. Like I said before, it's a great resume builder, and it gives students an opportunity to plan events and to do things that directly impact them as a student and for students, future students to come. Student government is in WAB Union 225. They also are the ones that do iPad rentals, calculator rentals, etc., that students can look to if they're looking for that type of information or services. Intramurals, this is one of those that could be a little bit formal because it requires games and stuff like that, but one of the misconceptions with intramurals, it's not just active sports. There's billiards, there's euchre. You don't have to be a world-class athlete by any means to participate. This gives students a chance to just want to stay healthy and be active. It's a great stress relief. There's over 18 different intramurals, be them sports or activities. And the best part is, like a lot of things on this campus, it's free, which is huge. And then students who participate get a free t-shirt. And again, you're building a team, you're meeting new people, you're connecting to your peers. And then the Intramurals and Athletics office in Gates 217, and their website is quite up to date about what's in session, what sports are coming up. I believe the next one is sand volleyball, team sand volleyball, that I did the last 2 semesters or the last 2 times, which it's a lot of fun. Moving on then to leadership development, and this is something that I'm privileged to be the person that works on leadership on this campus, but it's something that we continue to try to build as we go along to best serve our students and their needs, and we all know that students change. So for those of you, one as a graduate student, the other as staff, this is something we really try to get students started in as soon as they arrive on campus. And leadership can be kind of a daunting word, daunting thought, daunting theme, but it does not mean you have to come in and you're a natural type A born leader. That's not at all what this is about. This is about discussing different leadership topics and getting involved in different ways. So we have lunches with leaders. It previously was in 3 different sections. We've kind of condensed that to better serve a large amount of students, and it's going to be 1 Wednesday a month from noon to 1. And what that does, or what it will do, is connect students, and staff can come as well, graduate students can come as well, and it will connect those individuals to an elite community leader. A lot of the ones that we have coming up are alumni. Either way, they are CFOs, CMOs, they're vice chancellors in their areas from various parts. We have the Women's Bureau, Better Business Bureau, a lot of different areas of education represented that will allow 50 students a chance to sit in a small group and network with them. And you'll see flyers coming up on that soon. And since both of you kind of work with students, one of the things that we do that's open to first semester freshmen only is the Fall Student Leadership Retreat, we take about 50 students out to Camp Mac in Milford and do a bunch of different things around kind of some self-actualization, leadership topics, team building, self-esteem building, etc. And really, it's one of probably the best experiences that first semester freshmen can get involved in. Again, it's free, October 12th to 13th. We give free hoodie, transportation, food, etc. And a lot of these things you'll see coming up on lists that we have later talking about those 101 things to do. A lot of this stuff is present on there that students have told us within the last year or so that you have to do before you graduate. We're doing a new thing on November 10th. It's going to be a one-day or half-day Leadership Blitz workshop, and you'll see information coming up with that soon. And then trying another new thing in Leadership Week, which we're going to explore in April, a lot of different kinds of leadership and what that means and what that looks like to an undergraduate student, a staff, a graduate student, a faculty member, and then community members as well. And then we recognize our students in the Student Achievement Celebration on April 3rd, which will be a part of Leadership Week. And again, all of this is out of the Student Life office in WAB 210 if you have any questions or want to send students that way as well. Moving a little bit to the other side of leadership development in community engagement and servant leadership, we're bringing Dance Marathon. If you're familiar with that, the first ever Dance Marathon to campus, Friday, October 26th. And what that is a chance for students, staff, faculty, graduate students to come together, just have fun, but a ticket in the door, and the whole purpose of it is to raise money for a good cause. And this year that money is going to SCAN, and you'll see we have DJ, food, giveaways, fun. Again, it's free. We kind of play up all the time that involvement, it should be free, and it is free most 99% of the time on this campus. And then we're doing the big event again, March 23rd, 2013, and it will be our second annual. We brought over 600 volunteers, and you can see that picture on the bottom here, to campus. Students, faculty, and staff and alumni got together. We went out to almost 35 different agencies across the Fort Wayne community and spent one day, we dubbed it a day of love, a day of caring, to send out and connect IPFW to their community in a way that students haven't really connected in a large group with staff and faculty before. And then this another informal side of involvement, attending athletic events and performing arts. A lot of students do not realize we are Division I athletics here at IPFW, and that all games in Gates are free with their student ID. That's huge. Sports currently in season right now, both men's and women's soccer, women's volleyball, men's and women's tennis and cross country. And then similar to the athletic events, all of the events sponsored by Visual and Performing Arts at IPFW, again, students getting free with their student ID. That's plays, concerts, musicals, etc. And you can find Gates or athletics in Gates and Visual and Performing Arts in the Reinhardt Music Center. And then we all love all of the flyers we see everywhere, and most often they kind of just become confusing because there's a ton of them. But it is important, and they all, as offices, as staff members, as graduate students on campus, we do so much to program to our undergraduates. But a lot of times, and from probably 90% of the events, graduate students are welcome as well. So we'd always encourage students to look around, look at those flyers, and if nothing else, take a look at the IPFW events calendar. So if you'll go down to that web links again in the bottom left-hand corner, it's going to take you to the event calendar, which is right off that homepage. It doesn't have all of the events on it, but I know a lot of departments on campus are doing their best to put a lot of stuff on there. You'll see that we do post most of the student life kind of events or the student org events on there, but you also have athletic events, concerts, etc. And that's just something that's nice to point students to, and us as staff members and graduate students to navigate through there. If you click on the events calendar and you can see the different months and what's going on, the time, the location, it's really the most comprehensive, similar to Job Zone for jobs on campus, the comprehensive side of all of the types of events together in one place. Okay, so we kind of talked about the difference between involvement being formal or informal. The informal part of it is if we had to think about 101 things that we want our students to do, or an undergrad, a grad, as staff, we can do most of them, that we want to do before a student graduates, that's going to get them connected to their campus, hopefully meeting new people, having fun. Imagine that students can have fun on campus. That's really going to give them, again, what we talked about, an experience as opposed to just a piece of paper, or just, not that that's a bad thing, obviously, but more than just their education, that's going to really put that nice bow on their box. So if we had to think about, and I'm going to ask Rachel, since you are a graduate student, if you could think of one thing that you would tell an undergraduate student to do before they graduated, and Debbie, certainly as staff on this campus, what's one thing, if you guys would type in the chat box, what's one thing you would suggest to a student of any level to do before they graduate from IPFW? And then we will explore some different kind of other things that we can do and pick out some of them that will kind of help our students and help us continue to be involved. So once again, if I could have you guys type in there what you would suggest doing or suggest to a student to do before they graduated. And one person who's going to bear my name right now, but I promise I did not type it, suggest doing an externship, and that's perfect example. It gets you away from campus, but sometimes on campus as well, being able to really utilize some of the skills you're learning in the classroom in types or in fields that you're interested in going into. And we see that Rachel's typing, so I'm sure she's going to come up with something wonderful. Get involved with something that challenges you. And that's great, Rachel. That's something that we do, and it's actually in our mission in the Student Life Office, is we want to support students, but also challenge them to think outside their box, to experience things outside their box. And really, that is what makes the nice box that we're trying to put together here when a student graduates, is different things that are going to be able to potentially scare you, potentially make you fearful, anxious, whatever those things are. That's going to help prepare you for the real world, as if college is not a real world, but to do things after you graduate. So here is, and I don't know how well you can see that, but we're going to go to a couple different places. Here is a list that we have compiled over the last couple of semesters from random students on campus. We usually strive to ask about 5 to 6 graduating seniors or seniors who are about to graduate, things that they would suggest to do before you graduate. And as you can see, some of them are off campus. Number 3, get a hamburger at Powers Burgers downtown. Run barefoot through the fountain, so that's one here on campus. And you can see different things from career fairs to omnibus lectures. So again, things that actually are going on campus, to something as easy as riding a bike to campus, reading a book by the river, which is always nice, especially during finals or a stressful time, studying abroad for a semester, something that I wish I would have gotten involved in during my undergrad time when I could, going ice skating at Headwaters Park, going to a Mad Ants game, a Tin Caps game. One of my favorite that a student told me a little while ago is thank a professor. Sometimes, you know, we take it for granted that a professor stands up in front of a class and shares all this knowledge and all their information and all their research, that we don't take time to actually thank them for that, because it's their job and we assume they should be doing that. Something that is easy is building a snowman on campus, or appreciating the low cost of ramen noodles and macaroni and cheese. Not that you can't appreciate that later in life after college as well. Taking a non-credit art or music course just for fun. Taking a nap in a comfy chair. Again, just a bunch of different things that you may look at that and say, well, that's not really involvement, but it absolutely is. It keeps students here on campus, or at least connects them with friends that they can go to Powers with or go to these different festivals with. That's really the key. It's an experience. And if we can, you know, kind of reiterate something over and over again, it's indeed that. It's having an experience while you're in college, not just coming in, going to a class, and leaving. The second half of that, different options here. Get a picture with Don the Mastodon. Before the webinar today, Don was over enjoying some yo-yos and the new yo-yos over in Wab Union, although the poor guy couldn't decide how he was going to actually get the yo-yos into his mouth. But we're still working on that with him. Buy food from a student organization. This one is one of my favorites too, number 86. Maintain a friendship throughout your entire college career with at least one person you met freshman year. That's huge. Being able to continue to have those networks. Attend the Student Life Organization Fair. Attend a women's athletic event that not always is populated as men's events. Rollerblade to class. Buy an IPFW sweatshirt. Check out financial aid. Again, so many of these things are things that you wouldn't normally think about, and we tell students, I bet you could do at least 10 to 20 of these in your first week here if you took time to do them. And I had a student at the block party at housing a couple nights ago say to me, well, if I did all these and took a picture and put them in a collage, would you put it up in your guys' office? Absolutely. And what we're doing this semester is developing a campaign or a challenge of sorts to see what students can do to get all of these done. So kind of wait for some of that information coming out. But our goal here in doing 101 things before you graduate is to get you out and get students having fun, building connections, enjoying their IPFW experience. And I always tell them, if you look at number 90, kiss someone in front of the Mastodon. I mean, how romantic is that, right? Couldn't think of a better place to kiss someone than in front of a bronze Mastodon. But again, things that you may already do on campus or may not, but just some ways to get out there and continue to experience IPFW, to meet new people and to have fun. You see on here, doing the big event, attending Camp Mac like we talked about earlier, and just a variety of different things. This is also available on the Student Life website as a PDF document that you can download. It's also in our office as an actual handout. And we can send them to students or do whatever we need to. I can certainly send it to both of you. And like I said, be prepared for some stuff coming out soon that's going to do an actual competition or a challenge to get students out and doing these and taking fun pictures as they go along through their college career. So kind of pulled some more of them out there. We talked a lot about a couple of these: writing a letter to the editor of the Communicator, watching the 4th of July fireworks from the top of the parking garage. Again, these are things that it doesn't take a rocket science or rocket scientist, but what it does is give a student the ability to connect to their campus and connect to other people, apply for a leadership position on campus. We talked about thanking a professor. I love to people watch. It's one thing that a student told us: sit outside the library or sit outside when classes change and watch people. Enjoy live music at Riverfest. Take a road trip to the IPW basketball game. Run in the Nearly Naked Mile. Again, these are so many just different things that students can do regardless of their age, their level here at the university, that's going to allow them to hopefully further experience what IPFW has to offer. So what are peers, so what are the other students on campus suggesting other than these 101 things? What would they suggest to do before they graduate? Alex said, attend an IPSGA sponsored event or an athletics event. We are Division I. That's something to be proud of and support. Holly said, join a student club or organization, run through the fountain by the Mastodon, and collect over 100 t-shirts on campus. She claims it's possible. She'll graduate in about a year or so and says she's darn close to that and was hoping to get a couple more during Welcome Back Week this year. But we give a ton of those away at Homecoming, Freshman Fest, Welcome Back Week, different events all over campus. LaDan said, go to the IPFW homecoming basketball game and paint up as a part of the Blue Crew. And that's something that I've seen really in the last year or so at a lot of the basketball games in the Coliseum is students, a lot of coming over from housing and painting up and spelling Go Mastodons. And you can see those students at every game, and the camaraderie that they have alone, but in that they're supporting their peers, is a great thing. Bradley said, vote for the homecoming king and queen, as well as in the IPSGA executive officer elections. So again, teaching students the importance of exercising that vote and getting out there, because the executive officers certainly do influence what goes on here on this campus. Olivia said to volunteer your time at the big event. It was by far one of the best things I've done on campus yet, and it changes your life. So you can see there's a huge variety. If you're not into athletics, simply asking you to vote for king and queen or vote for an executive officer and then volunteering your time. Again, we're talking very formal but also very informal ways to get involved. Then we have some faculty and staff on campus. Chris Doust from Diversity and Multicultural Affairs to take a TV class. and then he took a time to plug his event, which is speed dating on August 29th. But speed dating is kind of that same thing. It gives students a chance to come out in the ballroom at noon and just look at different things and be able to experience different things that could get them involved as they go through their time here on campus. Nicholas Gray, who's a former student, he has both his degrees from here. He's the director of Upward Bound. Go to the fall student leadership retreat at Camp Mac. It's life-changing. I certainly hope so. I would agree. It continues to change my life as a staff member every year that I go. Ken Chrisman, Associate Vice Chancellor, said, don't forget to have fun, but go to class, and better yet, pass all your classes. Obviously, students are here to get a degree, to pass those classes, to have fun. But the most important thing, obviously, is we continue to push students to not just go to class, but to do well. Assistant Director of Housing, Jordan Newman, said, don't just join, but be active in a student organization and spend at least a year living on campus. So that's going to draw us to the conclusion. If you have any questions or want some of these documents, again, as Ashley said, the PowerPoint is going to be made available. We can certainly send that out. And if there's any other ways that you wish to have your students get involved, or that you want to become more involved things as a graduate student or a staff member, there's so many different ways. And I tried today to show you a lot of those different ways, both formal and informal, and things that you can be involved in. But by all means, it is not an exhaustive list, but we'll give you an idea of some of the things we offer here on campus, some of the reasons to get involved, and to continue to put that box together of who you want to be as you move on outside of IPFW, which getting involved is a component of that. It's certainly not all of it. We want students to go to class and get good grades and get their degree, but getting involved is a major part to make that well-rounded, holistic person as they graduate from IPFW and go apply for jobs. So once again, thank you so much for participating. You have our main office line there. We're in Waub Union 210. You also have my email address there as well. Please feel free to stop by anytime. And if we can get any of these documents to you, just let me know. And I'll turn it back over to Ashley to talk about some upcoming webinars and other information in regards to Mastodon Career Calls.
Great. Thanks, Chrissy. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to talk to our students and alumni about how to get involved and how to make those connections. There's actually a statistic out there saying that networking is the best way to get a job. 80% of jobs are found through networking. So all the different avenues that you talked about in terms of getting involved would really help your chances of meeting people, making those connections, ultimately doing the network, and then obviously helping with the job search. So appreciate your time. We do have a webinar coming up on September 13th. Right at noon. We'll be talking about how to really stand out at a career fair. And we have Amy Johnson, who's a recruiter from Northwestern Mutual Financial Network, here to talk to us about that. And she'll kind of give you her take on what she looks for in candidates at our job fair, which is going to be on September 20th.